The Michigan High School Athletic Association and Pass Sports present the Boys Basketball Finals. MHSAA on Pass is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award. By True Value Hardware, promoting good sportsmanship through the Good Sports Are Winners program. And by Tombstone Pizza.
From the Breslin Student Event Center in East Lansing, the Michigan High School Athletic Association presents the Class A championship game in the 1996 Boys Basketball Tournament between the Chargers of Southfield Lathrup and the Trojans of Saginaw High. Hello again, everyone. Rick Berkey alongside at the Breslin. We've already had 2 champions crowned, and we've got 2 more to go. Earlier today in the Class DC doubleheader in Class D, Tri-Unity Christian from Wyoming defeated Glen Lake from Maple City 59-53. And then in the Class C championship affair, it was St. Martin de Porres from Detroit getting the best of Manton 79-54. Later on tonight at 7:30, don't forget, we'll wind things up with a repeat of last year's Class B championship matchup between East Grand Rapids and Detroit Country Day. But right now we're ready for the Class A matchup, and right now really we've got 2 teams that not many people expected to be here. Southfield Lathrup, of course, knocked off pre-tournament favorite Detroit Pershing, and Saginaw survived 2 big scares with dramatic comeback victories, and we've got a whale of an A game week ready to go. Down to the floor for a closer look at the 2 squads. Let's go down to Tim Staudt and Greg Kelser.
Okay, Rick, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. This will be a wild game here in Class A this afternoon. Saginaw's won a couple of state titles in A in 1942 and 62. For Southfield Lathrup, this is a brand new experience. Till yesterday, Greg, they'd never been in a semifinal game, but they're here and they're very excited.
They're exciting and they're explosive, and if they fall behind, they just play harder. They got probably one of the best full-court presses in the state, and they used that to maximum effectiveness yesterday, turning a game which saw them trailing by 19 in the third quarter into a 14-point overtime win.
Let's take a look at Mike Chappell. He's one of several stars, the tallest player that ever played. He set the school record this year in career scoring. He's going to Duke. He's a good one.
Well, Chappell is already committed, as you indicated, to Duke. He's a solid basketball player, scoring at 20 points a game, 12 rebounds, and also unselfish enough to pick up 5 assists a game.
Now, Saginaw yesterday against Detroit Denby was 19 down in the second half, 16 down with 6 minutes to go. They catch them and they win it in overtime. I guess this game is not over until the final buzzer sounds.
Well, as I said earlier, they're very solid, and they've got Dwayne Nash, who got 29 points in that game. At 6 feet 3 inches tall, he also gets 11 rebounds, so that tells you he's quite athletic and he's very, very quick.
Saginaw won the Saginaw Valley Conference. This is the first time since 1980 that a Class A final does not have a team from the Detroit Public School League, which says a lot about Detroit. Also says these 2 teams here are good today.
Yeah, and they're looking to get the state championship. They know that they're going to have to maintain control. Tim, when you've got 2 teams that love to push it up and down, turnovers can be a factor. So obviously the team that takes care of the ball best today will have a good chance of winning.
This should be a wild game, free scoring. Hope you enjoy it. Rick, we're ready in just a couple of moments. Southfield Lathrup, the Chargers, and the Saginaw Trojans here from the Breslin Center. Rick, back to you.
We are ready as well, and we'll be back with the starting lineups in just a moment, so stay with us. One of your network sponsors is True Value Hardware. Just moments away from the Class A state championship contest, Lathrup from Southfield and Saginaw High, 2 impressive and identical records at 23-3 as we get ready for this Class A championship contest. We want to take a look at how both clubs got here because, you see them at the end of the road, but you forget the battles that they had along the way to get here. First, let's take a look at Lathrup, and you can see that they got by Clarkston and then Wayne Memorial. But before that, it doesn't even show up. It's when they knocked off Detroit Pershing, and that really gave this team a huge boost of confidence. Most people across the state assumed that Pershing would be here in the Class A finale, but Lathrop has earned it. They've knocked off the defending champs, and they're here to take on Saginaw High. Now, Saginaw High got here in the quarterfinals, you see, defeating Traverse City and a very fine Detroit Denby squad yesterday in the semifinals. However, also, prior to the quarterfinal round, you look back to the very first game that Saginaw High played in the tournament, and you circle that one in red. They played arch rival Saginaw Arthur Hill, and Saginaw trailed Arthur Hill by 3 seconds, with 3 points rather, with only 3 seconds to go in the game, and Arthur Hill shooting 2 free throws. Both free throws were missed. Saginaw scored a 3-pointer at the buzzer to get it into overtime, and then they progressed and they picked up their confidence. And as yesterday we mentioned, against Detroit Denby, they scored an almost unbelievable 53 points when they were down by 19 in the second half. They scored 33 points in the final quarter and then scored 20 points in the overtime to go on and win it by a count over Denby. Right now, though, we're going to have the starting lineups of the national anthem, so let's send it down to public address announcer Eric O. Forsythe.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we invite you to stand. Gentlemen, please remove your hats and caps and join us in the singing of our national anthem. Pleased to introduce, in the singing of our national anthem, Allison Moore, a junior from Wall Lake Central High School. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread clear, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet
Good afternoon. Michigan State University welcomes you to the Breslin Student Event Center for today's final game in the 1996 Michigan High School Athletic Association Class A Boys Basketball Tournament. The educational value of this event is more important than its outcome. Respect for others, including opponents and officials, is one of those values. There are no excuses for taunting and trash talk. Remember, good sports are winners. And now let's meet the starting lineup for today's game between the Chargers of Southfield Lathrup and the Trojans of Saginaw High. For Southfield Lathrup, at forward, 6'8" senior, number 43, Mike Chappell. For Saginaw, 6'3" senior, 32, Dwayne Nash. The other forward for the Chargers, 6'5" senior, 45, Harold Ellison. For Saginaw, at forward, 6'1" senior, 42, Jason Peoples. For Lathrop at center, 6'9" senior, 55, Reggie Butler. For Saginaw, 6'2" senior, 34, Antoine Tatum. At guard for Southfield Lathrup, 5'7" junior, 11, Brandon Barrett. For Saginaw, at guard, 5'10" senior, 20, De'Ronnie Pitts. And for the Chargers at the other guard, 5'11" junior, number 31, Greg Graves. And for the Trojans, 5'9" junior, number 24, Loazando Harris. Head coach of the Chargers, Bob Herm. Head coach of the Saginaw Trojans is Marshall Thomas. Official for today's game, David Hart, Mike Keating, Randy Hutton. Referee is David Hart. The umpires are Keating and Hutton, and the alternate is Hugh Jewell.
Tim Staudt with Greg Kelser here at the Breslin Center. We're all set to play basketball, the Class A state championship game. Marshall Thomas, Greg, was supposed to be our analyst today with Rick Berkey, then he messed it all up, got the championship game. But that is the way it goes when you're a high school coach at the same time. There's a starting five. Lathrup with those 2 junior guards and 3 seniors on the front line. And Saginaw has a senior lineup with the exception of Harris, a junior. This is going to be a game of speed, turnovers, and obviously these teams can score points at a record pace. This ought to be a lot of fun.
Well, Saginaw was able to force 29 Detroit Denby turnovers on their way to victory yesterday. But as you look at the teams as they line up for the half-court jump, you see a decided size and height advantage goes to Southfield Lathrup. I think they would probably do well to make sure they push the ball inside, especially when they have to set up and work their half-court. And, of course, Saginaw is going to look to keep it spread, and they use the three-pointer quite a bit.
Saginaw, the winner of the Saginaw Valley Conference with a 9-1 record. Lathrup won the Oakland Activities Association, tied for first place. These teams come in with winning streaks. Lathrup here in red has won 13 in a row. Saginaw in the white uniforms, 11 straight. Something's going to give today. And Southfield Lathrup has won the opening tip. And here we go with the first 3 of the game. It's tipped around. And it's Greg Grace who can't get it to fall. And we've already got our first turnover. 2 possessions, 1 turnover, 11 seconds in.
You know, it's almost important that you maybe eschew the run early on in these games, even if you are a running team, because you got to get your control, you got to get yourself settled. You know, you don't want to start the game turning the basketball over because you invariably dig a deep hole for yourself.
Brandon Barrett is number 11. Okay. Here's the three-pointer from outside for Lathrup from Mike Chappell, who knocks it down, and the Chargers have the first lead of the game. Both teams will press, and they do it well. These teams have had marvelous seasons, of course, just to get here. Bob Herm, the coach of Lathrup, said, man, I used to sit in the stands for years and watch and want to bring my team. We're tied at 3. Dwayne Nash knocks it down. Three-pointers have been raining around here today, and we got 2 in this game already.
Well, Southfield Lathrup has already indicated that they're not going to worry about moving the ball too much. They're going to up it 1 or 2 passes, and it's gone. And 3 points seems to be the order of the day, as you just indicated.
Rick and I've done college games all year, and nobody can make it. And then we come over here, and nobody misses. 6-3, Lathrup leading by 3. Here goes another 3 ring outside, and Chappell with a rebound. He has some very thin pins on him, but he's a graceful athlete. It'll be interesting to see how he develops physically once he gets into college. There's Mike Chappell again.
Well, there you see his talent. I mean, he did everything that play. He got the rebound. He brought it up court. He created offense for himself. Got the little soft 15-footer to go from the baseline. He can do that. They may have to think about doubling him when he has the basketball.
So it's 8-3 Lathrup here in the first minute and a half. Brandon Barrett with a personal foul here for Lathrup, first foul of the game. Good to have you with us wherever you are on a sunny day in Michigan here on Pass. Don't forget the Class B championship game here tonight. Detroit DePorce is the winner in C. Wyoming Tri-Unity Christian is the winner in D. This is Saginaw and Southfield Lathrup in A. These teams went through some frantic pregame warm-ups for about a half an hour. I got winded just watching them, Greg, but you can tell they're superbly conditioned and ready to fire and go. Now Lathrup with a 5-point lead in the basketball, 2 minutes in the game.
Well, Southfield Lathrup had to come back in their semifinal game to get here. And we already talked about how big a turnaround Saginaw had. So word of caution to both teams. You get down, don't give up. If you get up, don't get relaxed.
Saginaw Trojans 19 down yesterday in that third quarter. They only made 6 of 28 three-point shots yesterday, so they figure they can't do that again and expect to beat a club like this. And Durrani Pitts hit one at the buzzer to send it overtime. Then they scored 10 straight and one going away. They're a little cold here to start. Mike Chappell's got 3 quick rebounds in this game. And he's also made both field goal attempts, so he's off to a great start. Here's Chappell again. Boy, he looked good. Man, this guy looks good.
He looks good because he's under control. You know, he walked down there. He thought about going underneath the basket, but then you say, hey, no one's out here covering this wing, so he just flare it out and give his teammates credit. They're looking for him because he is hot right now.
Lathrop had never even been in a semifinal game till yesterday, let alone a championship game, but the Chargers have no problems here so far.
Well, when they beat Detroit Pershing, Southfield Lathrup, that is, they served notice to everybody that they're serious. And at that point, they became a favorite, one of the favorites to win this tournament. No one really took them that seriously until they were able to knock off Pershing.
That foul is Antoine Tatum's. That is his first. 1 team foul for everyone. Here's for Saginaw checking into the game 50. Freeman Battle, a 185-pound 6'2 junior. Battle had a very good game off the bench yesterday, getting 14 points. He was the third leading scorer for the Saginaw Trojans, and they need him today. Saginaw 8 points behind, but as we've been saying, they're used to being behind here in the Breslin Center. See the shooting here early on. And Freeman Battle into battle here for just a couple of seconds, picks up a foul, and that's 2 team fouls on Saginaw.
Saginaw foul.
It'll be interesting now, Greg, to see if Lathrup just keeps feeding Mike Chappell the ball, because he looks like he is on.
Well, you know, they do well to do that. You know, he sets the tone, he's under control, then you hope everyone else follows behind him. And it has to be such an advantage to be able to give the ball to your 6'8" forward and have him bring it up the floor to relieve pressure. Of course, we haven't seen the pressure that Saginaw can really provide just yet. And they got to start getting in the face of these shooters.
Greg Grays with his second 3. That's 4 threes made for Lathrop, 14-3. Lathrop has the lead. And finally, Saginaw counters here. He gets a steal. Nash put it up and in. Then the tip-up is back up and in. That's a 4-point play. Jason Peoples gets 2. Dwayne Nash gets 2, and away we go.
I like the way Lathrop is attacking the pressure. And it's going to be there fairly constant. You can pretty much bank that.
Brandon Barrett hitting the 2. And the ball is batted away. Lathrop with a 16-7 lead has it back. Down the lane and up and down. Nobody can cover Greg Grays. He's got 8 points already, and it's 18-7. I called that timeout, man. I tell you.
The pace is up.
Man, oh, man.
Already.
3:53 to play. Timeout on the floor. First quarter. Class A, it's Lathrop 18, Saginaw 7. One of your sponsors this afternoon is Farm Bureau Insurance.
Right here on this play, you don't see Chappell, but he's over here somewhere. But he's thinking about going to the basket, but when he notices no one is covering this area out here, he just comes right back and gets the jump shot for an easy, uncontested hoop. Here he is into the picture, stops and says, hey, give it to me now. Look at that. That's too much room for a guy as talented as he.
Mike Chappell off to a great start. 3 out of 3 from the field, 3 rebounds, 8 points. Southfield is 7 out of 9 shooting, 78%. Saginaw 3 out of 9, and Southfield has 5 rebounds, Saginaw 2. So it's been all Lathrop so far, but don't count Saginaw out. This team is good.
Please don't.
This team is very, very good. And they need to get their sea legs a little bit, which they'll do here. 3:33 to play here in the first quarter. I'll tell you what, when you can knock out Detroit Pershing in the quarterfinals, or in the knock them out in the regionals, which Lathrop did, 67-65. That was one of the great games of the tournament, and a shocker for Pershing, because a lot of people had them penciled in to be here, but they're not.
Well, they were the fifth-ranked team in the country, not just Michigan. We're talking about the entire country. Now, I don't know how they go about doing that rating system. but Pershing was there, and now they're not here.
Lathrup and Saginaw each 23-3 coming in today. 2 veteran coaches. Bob Herman his 10th year, Marshall Thomas in his 14th year. Now down the baseline, little finger roll is up and good by Dwayne Nash, and that's 5 for him.
Nash is superb taking the ball to the basket, showing that he can work along that baseline. He's going to have to see it a lot too, but obviously there's going to have to be balance on both teams in order to be successful.
Lathrop has dominated play. Chappell's shot falls away, and it's pulled down by Lawanzo Harris. Had they go, contact and a foul, nicely drawn by Dwayne Nash. Dwayne Nash stands 194 pounds. He looks a little heavier in that. He's a big, tough, strong kid. And the foul goes against Mike Chappell, I believe.
Well, he is big and he is strong, Nash. That's why at 6'3", he can go and get 11 rebounds a game. He creates space for himself. And look at this, going up, getting that contact and getting a three-point opportunity. It doesn't drop, so he'll go to the free throw line.
Mike Chappell, as you see, his first personal. Dwayne Nash is on the line. He's having a big day. He had a big day here yesterday with 29 points for his team in its comeback win. 6 points for Nash. And he can light it up. 18-11. Now Lathrop's lead cut to 7. This is the cream of the crop in the state high school basketball talent, Michigan, and these 2 clubs. And a good crowd on hand to watch it here this afternoon. Shot from the baseline is up and good by Greg Grays, another player with a good tournament this week. 10 for him already in the first quarter. Grays had 23 yesterday.
Southfield Lathrop presents problems for their opponents because they've got 3 legitimate ball handlers out there: Chappell, Grays, and Barrett. All of these guys can create for each other as well as themselves. You're not going to take the ball away from them too easily.
You know, it's interesting watching Lathrop sit in this zone here, asking them to shoot from outside. And there's a guy that gets free inside. Freeman battled. He got loose and knocked it down. Then they get the steal. 20-13, battle with a steal. Little baseline shot won't go. And Mike Chappell gets his 4th rebound for Southfield Lathrop.
Well, one thing that Southfield Lathrop cannot do when they're going against pressure is try to dribble out of a double team. You almost have to pass out of that. And the last time Grays was stripped because he opted to put the ball on the floor. Now here's the replay going in with the tough jump hook that time. Allison gets the contact.
Freeman Battle has his 2nd foul. Here's Harold Allison on the line, a 6'5", 175-pound senior. Good experience on this team. Lathrop has led all the way. It's 20-13 in favor of the Chargers with 1:41 remaining here in the first quarter. And we get a whistle and into the game now for Saginaw. Montel Lewis, a 6'1" senior. And Battle will sit down. He picked up 2 fouls off the bench. Now there is no defensive pressure here, and we'll watch Lathrop sit up in a, what is it, a 2-2-1 zone? Is that what they got here?
Actually, it's a 1-2-2.
I had it all wrong. Let's put it this way, it's a zone. And they're going to make Saginaw shoot those threes out there, and there's a whistle and a foul, and Chappell draws it. And it goes against Montel Lewis. That's his first 14 foul. See, he's just out of position.
His first 14 foul.
So it'll be Mike Chappell to inbound the basketball for Southfield Lathrop. I'll tell you, Duke's going to be a better team with this guy.
Oh, no question. You know, he reminds you a lot of Grant Hill in terms of the things that he can do with the basketball and the way he handles that basketball. Obviously, he's watched the former Duke star and has patterned a lot of his game after him.
Harold Allison has 3 points with that put back, 23-13. Southfield Lathrop by 10. Good crowd here from the Southfield area today. There's the 3 from downtown. It falls in for Jason Peoples. That's 7 for him, 2nd three-pointer for this club. Saginaw gets another steal. Inside, ball batted away, and there's a foul call, and Saginaw's going to shoot, I believe.
Now, if that's
Chappell,
that'll be 2 on him, and he's the one player that can ill afford foul trouble. Now, here you see again the ball on the floor. When people are running at you from all angles, you're best to pass the ball up the floor.
2 fouls on Chappell. That's 3 on Lathrup. So now we'll see what Bob Herm wants to do here. He grew up just a mile away from Saginaw High School. His brother's here today. Some family members, so he's back. Good look here on the free throw line at Saginaw's Montel Lewis. Calm, cool, and collected, and waiting to shoot 2. So Mike Chappell checks out with 41 seconds left in the first quarter. And in for Southfield Lathrup is Lee Staudt, a 5'9" sophomore. So this 10th grader is going to get some key playing time in his career here in the Breslin Center today. 23-16, Lathrup by 7. It's been a well-played game so far. Good look at Mike Chappell on the Southfield Lathrup bench, and you see the crowd here assembled in the Breslin Center today.
Toughest thing for young players to realize is that giving up a basket isn't that bad. I mean, Chappell had no chance to block that shot without the foul a moment ago, and because he was unable to pull back, committed the foul, and now is on the bench for probably a considerable amount of time with 2 fouls.
Now we'll see if Lathrup wants to start going the other way here and run a little time, and it looks like they'll play for the last shot here as we're in the final seconds, as you see, of the first quarter from the Breslin Center. The third of 4 games here today on Pass, the Class A state title game. Lathrup is led. Here's the 3-pointer, nothing but the bottom of the net. Greg Gray's had a remarkable first quarter. 3 3-pointers, 13 points in the first quarter for Greg Grays. 26-17, Lathrup leading Saginaw after 1 quarter in the Class A game. This is the MHSAA on Pass.
A wild first quarter, and Lathrup from Southfield High comes out firing threes with great success. They have a 9-point lead, 26-17. Joined again by our guest analyst, Bill Brandell. And William, 4 out of 5 threes very early, and Greg Grays leads the way for Lathrup, which is not certainly showing any sign at all of the fact that they haven't been to the finals before.
Well, they certainly aren't, and Lathrup just really out of the blocks quick here as they started right from the get-go off the center jump to begin the ball game, popping out with a try for a 3 that missed, and that's about the only one I can remember missing. And then Chappell took over, and away they went, and they're out to a quick lead in this Class A final.
You see that 21 out of 26 points coming from those 2, but Saginaw is hanging in there right now. Let's head down, scored it once again, and Tim and Greg.
Okay, show us here, Greg.
Well, hey, just a simple clear out, and you tell me, is that a 3 or what? That ball, hey, that's the deepest one of the day, and we've seen a ton of 3s in the first 2 games, but that one, that's the longest so far.
You just in 3-point shots. Southfield Lathrup is 5 out of 7. Saginaw's 2 out of 8, so that's 7 connected in the first quarter of this game. Here goes another one launched up there and off, and then a push off underneath. And that one's going against Lathrup, and who's looking innocent here is Reggie Butler. I'm not sure he will or won't get it. He does. Reggie Butler at 6'9" is the tallest player in the history of Southfield Lathrup High School. And Chappell's the second tallest in the history of the school. Now you know why they haven't been there. They haven't had any size over all these years.
Well, those big guys are going to have to figure out a way to rebound the basketball on the defensive end, because one of Saginaw's strengths is their offensive rebounding capacity. Yesterday, that helped them in their win, getting 29 offensive rebounds. That's a lot of offensive rebounds in one game.
You know, there's some good juniors in the state this year, and this Greg Grays is only a junior. Already he has 13 points after 1 quarter for Lathrup, half their points, and he and Chappell have combined for 21 of the 26. Of course, Chappell's is out of there now. Now we'll see how Lathrup can adapt with their star out of the game with 2 fouls. Turnovers, of course, here while we've been chatting in the first 33 seconds of the second quarter have been in abundance. 3 so far in 33 seconds. And Southfield Lathrup's going to get it back. Saginaw. Chappell sitting alongside of the chewing gum, going fast and furious for Bob Herm. And as you can see, the turnovers here midway through this first half. Now Lathrop, which has never trailed, leading 26-17 on offense again. They don't seem to have quite the offensive flow with Chappell out of there. I mean, who gets it? Here's Butler, a little turnaround move back to the basket, tip up, no. And then a whistle, contact underneath, and that's going, that may be 2 on Butler. And if it is, the 2 big stars for Southfield Lathrup would have 2 fouls apiece. Is that what they call? Yeah, it is.
That's exactly what they call. You see, Butler went over the back of 2 people that time. He's big enough to do that, you know, and gets whistled for the foul. Now, that is a concern. You know, things are going really good. You're in a flow. You got your outside shot going. But now, all of a sudden, you're faced with foul difficulty and how to respond. That's Bob Hearn's problem over there right now.
Greg, they took one of those fouls away from Butler and assigned it to Harold Allison. Okay, so Butler has 1 foul, not 2. Still 5 team fouls. On that turnover with 7:07 to go second quarter. Still, we have had no scoring here in the second quarter. Lathrop leading 26-17. Stay with us at halftime. We've got plenty of good features and highlights and interviews during this Class A state championship game. Saginaw winning at 42-62 under Coach Larry Lading. Good teams. And they were a runner-up in 1990, losing to Detroit Southwestern. Perry Watson's club 67-54. Butler with another rebound, and Lathrop is running this time.
Ooh, hang it up there. It's going to get picked off.
And the layup doesn't go, and a foul is called. He's got to come all the way back in here.
Get back in the gym, son.
Lee Staudt gets the foul. He's the sophomore. He's had plenty of playing time here in this game. Good quick player. 6:25 to go and a half. So they've gone 1 minute and 35 seconds in the second quarter. No one has scored yet.
See, with Chappell on the floor, Southfield Lathrop loses one of their capable ball handlers. And right now you've got, you know, some second guessing going on the floor. Their passes are not as crisp. They're hanging in the air, and those are the type that Saginaw lives for. I mean, they take those in the other direction hurriedly.
Antoine Tatum, a senior, is on the line for Saginaw. Trojans are 3 out of 5 from the line now here in the first half. One out of 2 makes it 26-18. First point here in the second quarter. Now Lathrop's going to turn it over once again. On the line is Greg Graves.
This is the thing that will keep Saginaw in this game, the turnovers. And really, that one unforced.
Well, Denby had 29 of them yesterday against Saginaw. So it's a team that can cause havoc, certainly, and has done that. And this should have been a Denby game, everybody thought, the way Denby dominated play for most of the game. But Saginaw made that great comeback to get here in the championship today. Butler with another rebound. Watch Greg Graves 31 because he's the offensive threat for Lathrop right here at the top of the key. He had 13 in that first quarter. And that bomb won't go, and it's pulled down by Dwayne Nash. And a nice play, but the bucket finally bounces around and down by Antoine Tatum. He's got 3 now. It's a 6-point game. And again, as Gregory's been telling you, you can see what happens with Chappell out of the game.
So that's ill-advised. You got to know where you are on the floor. That time, Graves tried to go 1-on-3, had no chance.
Here's the 3 from downtown. No.
It's helter-skelter.
It is. Saginaw loves it that way, and Reggie Butler's piling up a pound of rebounds here in this game. Back and forth, but Lathrop trying to hang on here with a 6-point lead. Now Chappell's going to come back into the game.
Well, that's because they've got to get some semblance of order. Herm is saying, guys, calm down. You know, it's too ragged, and that is not their style of play. But you're right. Saginaw loves it this way.
Nice shot, post move inside by Harold Allison. He has 5. They needed that bucket. Their first 2 points of this quarter with 4:53 to go before the half. So the next buzzer you'll see Mike Chappell, one of the best players in all of Michigan, back in the game.
When Chappell comes back in, he's got to make himself stay in position and not get caught in a situation where he commits that 3rd foul, because that'll hamper his play in the second half. It'll eliminate him for the rest of this half and certainly hamper his effectiveness in the second half.
Nice tip in by Harold Allison, who has scored the 2 buckets for Lathrop here in the second quarter. He has 7, and it's back to a 10-point Lathrop lead. late footer of both. That one's just overshot, and Saginaw gets another chance. Here's the three from outside. That doesn't go. And the whistle inside, the foul is called, and that goes against Saginaw's Jason Peoples, his first. And that's 5 team fouls now on the Trojans. So that's going to get 2 Chargers from Southfield Lathrup back in the game.
You know, you might say, well, hey, they're shooting themselves out of the game, Saginaw, launching all those three-point bombs. But really, if you've seen them or if you know anything about them, that's pretty much how they've gotten here. They launch the three, and then that leads to what they do really good, which is hit the offensive glass and get second and third opportunities. Those are their high percentage shots after the three goes up.
We've already had 47 shots taken in this game, 25 by Saginaw, 9 of them by Nash alone. And we still have half the second quarter remaining to be played. So Chappell's in, he's 43 in the red uniform for the Lathrup Chargers. Entertaining game, 30-20 is the score. Lathrup has led all the way. Inside foul, that call, that's on Saginaw. So we'll stay down here. And Dwayne Nash has it. That's his first 16 foul. So the next one will send Lathrup to the free throw line for the remainder of this half. Here's Chappell's going to shoot the three. That's way off. And it's out of bounds. He wasn't really sure if he wanted to fire that, and it was errant.
No. He was sure he was going to fire it. Problem is, he made that up in his mind long before he got the basketball and never created spacing or a good enough shot for himself. I don't think you can predetermine things out on the floor. You get it, you notice how you're being played, and then you go into your move. Sometimes that move should end up as a pass.
Well, that's Dwayne Nash, 32. He has 9 field goal attempts already. He's made 3, okay, so he's going to have to improve that a bit. He's hunting. He's down there on the prowl of the baseline, and he draws a foul. Although he's going to be called for the foul, I think. No, it's going the other way.
What you have to do on that play pretty much, especially when you're double teaming him, make sure one guy seals the baseline. You know, when you get a guy hemmed up on the sideline, you should be able to use the sideline as an extra defender, not allow him to slip through, as was the case that time, and Allison picking up that foul.
2 fouls on Harold Allison, so now with a 17 fouls on Lathrup. Saginaw's on the line, 1-1. Here's Dwayne Nash, not scored in this quarter. He had 9 points in the first quarter. This guy is a scoring machine. Now the ball's loose. Saginaw back. Nash up with a tip. No, Nash is going to get a couple more, and he gets it up and in. Great effort by Dwayne Nash, and it cuts it to 30-22. Here's Graves in and out. No. And it's pulled down by Saginaw's Dion Anderson. So the Trojans have managed to curtail Lathrup's high-powered offense, but at the other end, it's been a struggle for them as well.
You know how in hockey where you just shoot the puck into the zone so that you can attack? That's what Saginaw does with the three-point shot. Just get it up there, and now let's attack.
Chappell goes with a left hand into the lane. Graceful shot by Mike Chappell. And his left hand did it there. He's got 10, 32-22, and he hadn't played very much. Here's the big three outside by Nash. That's 12 shots now for Dwayne Nash. I don't think you even shoot him that many times.
No, he's going to need some alcohol, some liniment at halftime, man, to rub that shoulder down so he can come out and play the second half.
Ball is loose on the floor. It's out of bounds, and Lathrup will keep it right there. We've got a couple of substitutions in the game now. Reggie Butler comes back in for Lathrup. And you can see Bob Horn welcome his guys over there on the bench. Amadi Stewart, 51, went out. So Lathrup will inbound the basketball underneath its own basket. 1:47 to play here in the second quarter, 32-22. And the Chargers have led, as we've said, all game long. Chappell is at a low post now with Butler.
Being guarded tightly by Peoples, who does a good job in there.
Down the lane, it's up and won't fall. Tough break there for Durrani Pitts. And on the errant rebound, Lee Staudt finally comes down with it, then loses it, and they'll get it back.
You know, you would think that if Southfield Lathrup could get a clean defensive rebound and an outlet pass, that's the thing. If they can put those two together, they're going to get some running opportunities, because Saginaw is really staying back trying to strip the rebounder after the rebound has been claimed.
Nice pass to the forecourt. The shot doesn't go, and it's pulled down by Armar Bonson for Saginaw. There's Nash, who's tripped, loses his footing. He was on the way to the basket, and now he is there and gets it up and in. I'll tell you, Nash is a creator. There's no question about it. 13 points for Dwayne Nash, and it's 32-24. And Lawanzo Harris, as the ball went flying in the air, oh, wait, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. Don't call it tech. Don't call it T. I didn't want to do it. I know it was a mistake. I know it was a mistake.
Well, he's very fortunate. He is very fortunate because, okay, here's Nash going down, getting
sleight of hand there.
His teammate picks it up as number 24 Harris, and Harris now makes the pass, and along the baseline where he's very, very tough is Nash.
Nash is an offensive creator. He's very imaginative. He's good on the junk shots, and once it's broken down, he's going to the hole with it, and more often than not, he's going to score.
I want to tell you, too, when you play this type of style that Saginaw is employing, you had better be in condition.
Here's the sophomore Lee Staudt on the line, only 140 pounds. That's his first point of the afternoon, make it 33-24 now. Nash is 5 out of 14 from the field. He has had 14 of Saginaw's 31 shots. And he has 13 points. So one more free throw here for Lee Staudt. And this to put the lead back to double digits for Southfield Lathrup. And a whistle will get a substitution into the game for Lathrup. Brandon Barrett will check back in, and Staudt will go out. You know, we had that backcourt pressure early in the game, Greg, and neither team has really used much of it since then. They're going to save their energy for offense. Now we're inside a minute, as you see here in the first half. Stay with us at halftime. Got plenty for you to see. There's a three from outside, maybe a little ill-advised on that one. Now does Lathrup hold the ball here with 30 seconds to go?
Oh, yeah. I would think so.
Chappell has that look that that's what will be the call.
He just needs to be careful not to pick up an offensive foul here. Then he'll escape this first half with just the 2 fouls he got early.
Good ball handler, can play any position for this club. High post, low post. Now Lathrup will make a move here momentarily, and they're going to get it to their best weapon. That's Chappell. Out of bounds, and Saginaw with 1.3 seconds to go will get a chance. Mike Chappell, 4 out of 7 from the field, 10 points in the first half with 4 rebounds and 2 personal fouls. So now the key here is just to somehow deny Saginaw a chance to get a decent shot here in the last 1.3 seconds.
Well, they get Chappell out of the game. That's a smart move.
Lathrup only got 8 points here in the second quarter, and we've come to the end of the first half. It's been all Southfield Lathrup so far. The Chargers have led the entire game. They have a 34-24 lead at halftime. That's our score. Stay with us. We're coming back. Lathrup over Saginaw, 34-24. And you're watching the MHSAA sponsored this afternoon in part by Tombstone Pizza.
Southfield Lathrup trying to join Wyoming Tri-Unity Christian with winning a Class A crown here, as Tri-Unity did the D crown in its first trip to the finals on top by 10. You know, every year the Michigan High School Athletic Association honors individuals who have made significant contributions in their lifetimes to interscholastic athletics. The Charles Forsythe Award is named for the first full-time director of the association. For the presentation, let's go to public address announcer Eric O. Forsythe.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we direct your attention to center court, where Brian Callahan, Superintendent of Granville Public Schools and President of the Michigan High School Athletic Association Representative Council, will make a very special presentation. The Charles E. Forsythe Award is presented annually by the Michigan High School Athletic Association to individuals who have achieved excellence in service to the interscholastic community. More information about the award and this year's honoree may be found on page 8 of your souvenir program. We are pleased to present this year's recipient, a lifetime teacher, coach, and athletic administrator in the Royal Oak School District for 39 years. Charles H. Jones of Royal Oak has been selected to receive the 1996 Forsythe Award. Charles presently is the Director of Physical Education and Athletics for the Royal Oak School District, as well as being Athletic Director at Kimball High School. Jones coached 3 sports at that school. He is past president of the Oakland County Athletic Directors Association and the Michigan High School Coaches Association. He has also been active with the statewide and national athletic administrator groups and as a host of numerous Michigan High School Athletic Association tournaments, including 30 consecutive cross-country regional meets. Jones was honored 4 years ago with the Michigan High School Athletic Association's Allen Bush Award, and today becomes the first person to receive the Forsythe and Bush Awards. The Michigan High School Athletic Association pleased to present the Forsythe Award to Chuck Jones. Congratulations to Chuck Jones, recipient of the 1996 Charles Forsythe Award.
And congratulations to Mr. Jones. Stay with us. You're watching the MHSAA on Pass. You see at the half, Southfield Lathrup on top by 10 points. The Class A finale. Earlier today, Detroit St. Martin de Porres and Tri-Unity Christian from Wyoming have already won class championships here at the Breslin Arena. Rick Berkey along with Bill Brandell again. And Coach, you look at that first quarter, each team, they combined for 43 points, but the pace and the fatigue factor came in the second quarter. They combined for just 15 in the second period.
Well, it was two completely different types of quarters, Rick. We saw some great shooting and some great confidence all over the floor on the part of both teams in the first quarter. Then all of a sudden, Mr. Chappell for Lathrup has to sit down, and confidence on his team really dropped off. And then the full court pressure defense by Saginaw began to get effective. Saginaw went cold shooting at the hoop, so we ended up scoring just 15 points total in that second quarter, a complete turnaround from what we saw in the first quarter.
Bill, the three-point shots are impressive, and they're drawing the oohs and ahs from the crowd, but I got a feeling up here that it's the team that really gets the ball inside and gets more points close in the paint might come out on top.
Well, and that should be Lathrup, because they've got the 3 big guys. There's a little bit of foul trouble to think about, but Lathrup with that big size advantage, and they're the team that should be working it inside and just pounding the boards, getting second and third opportunities in there offensively, and they haven't done that. They've been outside firing those long bombs, and all of a sudden the teams went cold in that second quarter.
At Saginaw High, the comeback kids, it's almost like, yeah, we got them right where we want them. They're down by 10.
Well, it is that pressure defense, or gambling defense as they call it. They don't just pressure you, they just go all out. They dive at the ball, they cross your arms, they're not afraid of being called for fouls on their pressure defense. They just really come at you tough, and it was effective in the second quarter.
Well, still more to come, so you keep it right here. And one of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance.
In every corner of the state, Michigan folks receive a special kind of insurance help from Farm Bureau insurance agents. Help when it counts. People talking with people, and that'll never change. Wherever you live, whatever your lifestyle, your Farm Bureau agent is near you and has one objective.
We're making your future more predictable. Farm Bureau Insurance.
Farm Bureau Insurance.
Confess.
No.
Now.
No.
And what do you want on your tombstone?
Sausage, onion, and green pepper.
Time for Tombstone Pizza, made with the good stuff, real cheese, real veggies, so it's always real good. What do you want on your tombstone?
No! When in Lansing, stay at the Sheraton Lansing Hotel, home of Christie's Restaurant, voted Lansing's favorite hotel restaurant. Relax in our indoor pool, enjoy a game of racquetball, or work out in our Nautilus weight room. All open 24 hours a day. Banquet facilities for up to 700 plus private meeting rooms. The Sheraton Lansing Hotel welcomes the Michigan High School Athletic Association Boys Basketball Finals. Conveniently located off I-496 and Kreitz Road. The Sheraton Lansing Hotel, the place on Lansing's west side.
We're certainly glad you've joined us all day long here on Pass, the MHSAA Basketball Finals. And right now we're at halftime of the Class A Championship game. Still to come at 7:30 tonight. East Grand Rapids and Detroit Country Day taking to the court, deciding who will win the Class B crown. In fact, that's a rematch of last year's championship affair. Bill Brandell, we mentioned the fatigue factor being a real key factor in the first half as both teams kind of ran out of gas in that second quarter. But Saginaw, as we mentioned before, they were in a very similar situation yesterday in the semifinals.
Well, that comeback they had yesterday was just unbelievable. They were down 18 points, Rick, in the fourth quarter. Came back to tie the ball game. It went into overtime. They scored 20 points in the overtime period in order to win the ball game, and just did it all by way of an attacking full-court pressure defense. But let's don't forget also that Southfield Lathrup was down in their ball game in the fourth quarter, and they put on a half-court pressure defensive trap situation, and that broke that game open. So both teams used to being behind. Both teams can put on the pressure D.
The stat that jumps right out to you, Bill, though, you see Lathrup at 48%, just 28% for Saginaw. Now, again, like I said, we kid about the comeback kids, but they can't feel too good about shooting just from the floor. You go to the well too often, you're going to lose to a big team.
Well, exactly. You've got a team that can just dump the ball inside on you, and that's very difficult to overcome when the height advantage is so great.
Grays leads Lathrup and Nash leads Saginaw, but still a half to come, so keep it right here as you are watching the MHSAA on Pass.
Tim Staudt with Gregory Kelser back here at the Breslin Center. We're about ready to resume play here in the third quarter. It's been all Southfield Lathrup so far. Gregory, take us through a couple of highlights here of a good first half.
Well, here's a fast break basket for Saginaw. Tatum on the receiving end. He misses and then gets the tip. Now, even though Saginaw has run the ball up the floor repeatedly, they have not had a lot of fast break points. Now, this is a half-court set for Southfield Lathrup. You see Staudt on the catch, and underneath, Allison is posting up, and nice little bounce pass in there. And as I said before, they've got a size advantage, so when they do have to go to half-court offense, not a bad idea to check that interior out. Harris, good off the glass.
Mike Chappell inbounds the ball for Southfield Lathrup on the alternate possession. As we begin play here in the third quarter, the Chargers of Southfield Lathrup 16 minutes away from their first ever state championship in boys basketball. And Saginaw looking for a third state title in the first one in 34 years. So a lot riding here on these final 16 minutes. We've had good play in this game. Lathrup now will go down in front of its own bench here in red. If you just joined us, Saginaw in white. And we're just underway. Each of these teams 23-3 coming in today. They're the first 2 points for Reggie Butler, and it's 36-24.
There's what we talked about. When you're in your half-court set, using those big guys inside, letting them get a couple of touches.
Whistle and a foul. That one's going against Lathrup. Reggie Butler, I believe, is going to have it here, 55. That'll be his second of the game. You know what? You know what's interesting?
Foul 31.
No, they're going to give it to Graves. Greg Graves has his first foul. Most teams, a lot of teams in high school basketball don't have one 20-point scorer. Lathrup has Graves averaging 20.3 and Chappell 20.4. It's amazing to have two 20-point scorers on the same high school team or any team lower in the NBA.
Well, that's why when Chappell went to the bench with his 2 fouls early in that in the first half, Southfield Lathrup was still in capable hands because they had Grays out on the floor. He took over the offense at that point.
This is Durrani Pitts, who scored at the buzzer in regulation yesterday for Saginaw to send a game into overtime in the semifinals. And then his teammates went on to a 93-79 win over Denby, Detroit Denby. So Durrani Pitts has had a big week here on that one play alone. 10-point game here. Lathrup had 26 points in the first quarter, 8 in the second. Saginaw had 17 in the first quarter, 7 in the second. So it was a free-scoring first quarter, and it got way down in the second. Now we'll see what we do here in the third quarter of this game. Saginaw with a chance to cut into that 10-point lead, and that's for 3. That's Dwayne Nash, his second 3 of the game. 16 points for Dwayne Nash. They steal. The putback load tipped up in and out. Still was put back up and in just that quickly by Jason Peoples. 7 for him, and now it's a 5-point game.
Got to keep the ball up above your head, be strong with it, move it up with the pass, not the dribble.
Here's Chappell all the way down, and he's fouled. When that press came off, Lathrup did a little bit better, but Saginaw put it on there, and it really caused havoc there at that end of the floor.
Well, again, when you're being pressured, the best thing to do, stay away from the corners. And that time, Chappell got caught in that corner, then created extra problems for himself by getting up in the air. He had to get rid of it and passed it right into a turnover.
Durrani Pitts has the foul. That's his first as you look at it again here. Mike Chappell is on the line shooting 2. 11 points for Mike Chappell now, playing his final high school basketball game. There's Durrani Pitts, of course, with a first foul. And Chappell ending a brilliant career. He became the school's all-time career scoring leader this year. And they may go a ways before they find a player as talented as he is. Inside whistle and a foul. They're going to call a jump ball. Saginaw's going to get it back on the possession arrow. 38-31. Saginaw has never led but has the margin reduced to 7. And then you know about Saginaw's comebacks in this tournament. They've been legendary. 2 huge comebacks in this tournament, and they're looking for a third one today. Here's the 3 from outside. Nothing but the bottom of the net for Jason Peoples. That's 10 for him. 2 3-pointers. This is the closest Saginaw has been in a long time. Chappell is at his third foul, and there it is. Mike Chappell with a charge. Good defense by Saginaw. Mike Chappell with 3 personal fouls now, and Lathrup's lead reduced to 4.
Decision time for Bob Herm. Right there. There's the contact. Now Chappell with 3 fouls. There's 5:51. That's a lot of time to go in this third quarter. What are you going to do? You're going to leave him on the floor and trust that he'll be able to stay out of further damage?
Here's Young. And that one's pulled down.
You can't just catch it and automatically start dribbling. Saginaw is gaining much momentum here, keyed by their pressure.
Antoine Tatum with 5. The margin is down to 2. Saginaw with another steal. This is a chance to tie or take the lead. And then Saginaw turns it over, and they had an easy layup there.
Yes, indeed.
If it could have been held by Antoine Tatum. Now Southfield Lathrup wants timeout. Bob Herm has seen it up. His team's lead is down to 2 with 5:25 remaining to be played here in the third quarter. A big game here in Class A this afternoon. We'll be back. One of your sponsors today is Tombstone Pizza.
Again, if you're Southfield Lathrup and you're going against this pressure, you've got to catch the ball and then turn and look and find out where the defenders are coming from. Saginaw getting the turnover, getting the ball inside to Tatum, and that pulls the Trojans to within 2. And as we said earlier, a lot of momentum and confidence on their side. Southfield Lathrup must regroup here.
Tim Staudt with Gregory Kelser here at the Breslin Center in the third quarter. If you just joined us, Southfield Lathrup in the red uniform struggling to hold a lead. It has held all day long over Saginaw. 38-36. That's an ill-advised shot inside by Greg Graves, who's been silenced. Now Saginaw to tie the game, and they do.
Well, you know, the pressure doesn't always end up with a turnover. A lot of times it forces a hurried, bad shot, and that helps you too. So you still get the dividend that you're looking for when you're pressured.
Lawanzo Harris tied the game at 38 with his first 2. Now Mike Chappell's going to try to take over. That shot is way off. And Saginaw with a chance to take the lead for the first time this afternoon.
Southfield Lathrup must feel as though they're playing against 7 players. I mean, white jerseys coming from every single direction. Unbelievable.
Antoine Tatum gives Saginaw its first lead of the day at 40-38. Here's Chappell free from the corner, and he rips it in there.
It's amazing he was that wide open because no Southfield Lathrup player has seen that kind of room and that kind of time so far in this quarter.
That's the third three-pointer for Mike Chappell today. 15 points for the big senior. 4:06 to play, a 1-point game. Southfield Lathrup ahead of Saginaw. Nash loses it inside. He just turned it over. Not a good sequence that time for the Trojans, who had finally gotten the lead.
Chappell was open for a moment. They didn't get it to him in time.
Here's Gray's little spin move doesn't go. Butler on the rebound and then loses it. And it's pulled down by Durrani Pitts. Pitts all the way. And he's fouled, and he'll shoot 2. Not happy with the call is Greg Grays, but that's his second, and Durrani Pitts will go back to the line.
Pitts should have passed this basketball. He's very fortunate to get in there and pick up this foul.
This one's going to be a wire-to-wire job, you can see from here on out now, with 3:41 left in the third quarter in the Breslin Center on a beautiful day in mid-Michigan to end the 1996 high school basketball season. One more game tonight in Class B you'll see on Pass. East Grand Rapids will try to upend Detroit Country Day. Durrani Pitts now 2 out of 3 from the line this afternoon. Amazing that East Grand Rapids is playing in its 3rd consecutive championship game. And looking for that first title in that span. It's tough when you get this close, Greg, to put it over the top for anyone. Pitts with 3 out of 4 from the line ties our game. So we'll start all over now. 11:41 to play in the game totally. 3:39 here in this half, in this quarter. Tied at 41. Greg Gray's 31 here has not scored in this half yet. They've done a good job on him. And he wants to. Good rebound by Reggie Butler there, then gets it to Grays, who's going to wheel and deal and shoot. And tipped back up, tipped up, and finally pulled down by Saginaw's Jason Peoples. Now the Trojans with a chance to take their second lead of the afternoon. From the corner, that 3 is fired up quick, and Mike Chappell pulls it down. All he had to do was get a good shot there.
Hey, you don't have to be open to launch a 3 in this game, do you?
Nope, you don't. You just have to have it.
Have the ball.
You got to have it out behind the arc. Here's Chappell. Loves that corner. Hold down once again.
Saginaw, they're quick leapers, and because of that, they're being able to turn the height advantage and the size advantage that Southfield Lathrup has into a disadvantage. They're not quick enough.
Marshall Thomas for Saginaw calls timeout. He wants to talk it over with the game tied at 41 here in the third quarter. Videotapes of the games of this 1996 MHSAA boys basketball tournament are available on videotape for purchase through Advanced Video Service. Each game is available in VHS format at a cost of $24, and that includes all taxes and handling charges. And when ordering, be sure to indicate the sport and class of the game desired. Orders may be directed to Advanced Video Service at 5547 Columbiaville Road, Columbiaville, Michigan at 48421. Checks should be made payable to Advanced Video Service, and you can allow 2 to 4 weeks for delivery. Tim Staudt, Gregory Kelser, Breslin Center, 2:40 to play, third quarter. We are tied at 41 between two, Greg, I think very, very evenly matched teams in Southfield, Lathrup, and Saginaw.
Yeah, they are evenly matched, and they both beat some pretty good teams to get here. And right now, you've got both of them fashioning the up-tempo game. And as we said in our open, whichever team can settle down and begin to take care of the basketball and not be forced into these crazy shots might have a leg up on winning.
Saginaw here in its huddle, last played in a championship game here in 1990, 6 years ago. And here's Southfield Lathrup, had never even been to the semifinals until this season, okay? And as you can see, Lathrup turning the ball over has been a problem for this club so far today. Lathrup got here yesterday, downing Wayne Memorial 77-67. So far in this game, Saginaw shooting just 36% on 15 of 42, and Lathrup 41% on 15 of 37. We've had 79 shots fired up, and 33 of them have been three-point field goals. Saginaw is 4 out of 20 from three-point. We got 4 out of 21 now. And yesterday, Saginaw was 6 out of 28 from the three-point stripe. That one's up and good by Lathrop's Harold Allison.
What did we say earlier, excuse me, Tim, about a quick defensive rebound and an outlet? You can get numbers. That time they had both, and they got a layup, did Southfield Lathrop.
Allison with 9 now. So now the Chargers with a 2-point lead in the basketball once again. I know Grace, he's going up with this thing again because he's in a little bit of a slump. He hadn't scored here in this quarter. Nice lead pass inside for the layup, just the way you want it. Freeman Battle gets it, and he's got 4, and we're tied. And then Battle hustles for the rebound. It's out of bounds, and Lathrop again gets it back with 1:53 left in the third quarter. Now inbound in front of the Saginaw bench here. They've done an excellent job on Greg Grays. He had 13 points in the first half and 23 yesterday. Grace hit one yesterday, Gregory, from behind midcourt in the third quarter.
I'm told.
That's how hot he's been. But here in this third quarter, it's been a struggle. You can see good defensive pressure. Butler, who knows to give it up, and then they're going to call a travel here against Lathrop's Brandon Barrett, who also has been pretty silent today. And Bob Herm claps his hand and says, "Come on, guys, let's get going." Marshall Thomas of Saginaw, resplendent in the yellow and black colors of the Saginaw Trojans. Saginaw Valley Conference champions. Good league, excellent league for basketball every single year. Loose inside, whistle, foul called. And that's against Lathrop. And is that
go
Butler?
on Reggie Butler, who came over, but not in time. Certainly was not there in time enough to set himself. He picks up his third foul, his second foul.
Second foul, yep. Reggie's got 2 now. And that's 4 team fouls here on Lathrop in the third quarter. Now Saginaw with a chance to take its second lead of the game. There's the 3 to get it, and it's off. And it's pulled down by Butler, who's done it. He knows his role. That's 7 rebounds for Butler in this game now. Now Lathrop again here inside a minute in the third quarter, looking to gain control. They had a big early lead in this game, but Saginaw has roared back. That one's rejected for a second time. Here's Chappell from the corner, throws it in, he's fouled in the basket, will count, and remember that field goal if Lathrop goes on to win the game.
That was big because it came after a couple of blocks inside, so that's like a second or a third opportunity there. And Chappell rammed it home and got hammered over there. This is going to be a 4-point opportunity. Look at him.
Lawanzo Harris gets the foul. You know, I'll tell you, Gregory, as you know when you played with Irvin, when you're a guard, which he'll be in college, with 6'9" size, you can handle the ball and shoot the 3 and extend his arms like that. Man, you're tough to stop.
Ooh, misses out on the 4-point opportunity. That would have been huge to get all of that in just one possession.
18 points for Mike Chappell on 4 3-pointers now. Here's a 3 to tie the game, and it rattles around, and Mike Chappell pulls it down. This final high school game has been a big one here, and there's traveling's going to be called. It's out of bounds, and so Saginaw will get it back.
You know, each time that Southfield Lathrup is in a position to sort of get themselves back in control and get some space between themselves and Saginaw on the scoreboard, they throw it away. They do something like that. Saginaw, I think if they can just improve their shot selection just a little bit and not settle for the first 3-pointer that you have, they can perhaps get themselves in control of this game.
Now, Gregory, Chappell's out of there, so let's see if Lathrop, what they do with it. I think they're just going to rest him here the last 15 seconds, make the timeout longer here for him.
Well, keep that 4th foul away from him as well.
Keep the 4th foul away, all that good stuff. Here it is, down from 3, pounded, no, tip back up, no, and that's the end of the third quarter. So Southfield Lathrup has survived through 3 with a 3-point lead after relinquishing the lead for the first time today. At the end of 3, Southfield Lathrup 46, Saginaw 43. This is the MHSAA on pass.
On a 3-point shot by Mike Chappell, Southfield Lathrup on top by 3 as we played 3 quarters of the Class A championship contest. Rick Berkey along with Bill Brandell up top. And Bill, I know Lathrop is not happy about losing a 10-point lead or having it shaved down to 3 points, but they need to remember they still are on top at the point.
Well, they are on top, Rick, and as you said, they survived a tremendous flurry at the beginning of this third quarter, a 16-2 run in the first 4 minutes, and actually went behind for just a moment or two, and then the big three-pointer from Chappell put them back on top, and they seem to regain their composure back there. But a great bit of pressure defense as once again the Saginaw squad got the crowd up and roaring here at Breslin.
Well, we've still got a quarter to play, so let's go down to Tim and Greg.
Saginaw is shooting 33% on 16 of 49. Southfield is 17 of 41, 41%. That shooting there has been a big difference, Gregory.
No question about it.
Saginaw's number 50, Freeman Battle, here, ready for battle in the fourth quarter. As we're underway, Lathrop will have the basketball and a 3-point lead, and Mike Chappell is in the game. So he has those 3 fouls, and will have to protect against getting the fourth. Lathrop in this half has had trouble holding on to the ball, and Battle with a big rebound now for Saginaw. 8 more minutes in the Class A high school basketball season. Saginaw and Lathrop, the last 2 A schools to play. 3 block shots in there, and Lathrop pulls it away. Here's Mike Chappell, is going to wheel and deal, and then he will hold it up. This is his buddy Gray's outside. No, tipped up, should have been in. And this one finally falls in for Hamadi Staudt, a junior. And that's a big one for Lathrop, giving the Chargers a 5-point lead.
You know who's starting to get the second opportunities now? Southfield Lathrup. They're letting the offensive rebound be a good weapon for them.
Saginaw will inbound it back here with 7:04 to play. You can look at Greg Grace has been shut out here in the second half after a 13-point first half performance. So he's had trouble finding the eye here in the second half offensively.
You know, I worried for Saginaw coming into this game. Did they play their championship game yesterday? Did they leave it all out there yesterday, having to come back from so far and expend so much energy as well as emotion? I don't think that's been a problem today, though.
No, and yet it's interesting. Teams that come way back, get a lead, and then lose it, they somehow, you know, the moment you get that lead, then your tempo falls off a bit.
Well, you exhale.
And they did, and now they're 5 down, and Lathrop has it. Here's Chappell, who's very mature, it looks like, Greg, with a ball and knowing when and when not to shoot. You know, he doesn't rush this a lot. You know, he has patience of a senior, of a star player who knows when to go. Now, the Grays, as a junior, will, let's just say he shoots more frequently. But he got fouled there, and he'll go to the line for Bob Herm and his team. That foul against Southfield's Durrani Pitts, that's his second. So here's Greg Grace, who will be a premier senior in the state of Michigan next season. Good look at Pitts, and another good look at Saginaw's 44, Montel Lewis, a senior who checks in. And the big guy, Freeman Battle, will go out. So on the line, Greg Grace, superb player. Led his team yesterday again with 23 points, hit one from behind midcourt at one point. But there's been a lid on the basket. In fact, he got all 13 points in the first quarter and has not scored since then. Butler is back in for Lathrop. And Hamadi Staudt, who came in, got a good tip there at a key time, will go out. Gray's trying to break a 2-quarter drought here now and give his team a 6-point lead. So he has 14, 6-point game. Now into the game is Armar Van Sant, a 155-pound junior for Saginaw, and Durrani Pitts goes out. 49-43, 6:28 to go. Stay with us after the game for all of the gala award ceremonies, which are such a big part of this basketball championship. And a whistle and a foul is called, and they're going to get Chappell for his fourth. And remember that with 6:19 to go, Mike Chappell is 1 foul away from ending his high school career.
And he quickly motions down to Bob Hearn. No, don't take me out. I can stay out of foul trouble. I won't pick up another one, but this is a big, big gamble here, because if you lose him with a lot of time on the clock, then you're going to see a surge in the confidence level of Saginaw, and you'll see Southfield Lathrup, you'll see them deflate.
Now, are they going to go right at Chappell to get him out? I mean, that'll be interesting to watch. As it is, they get Saginaw to turn the ball over. I think Chappell's going to go out.
He's got to come out of the game. I mean, at least for a couple of minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. As long as they've got the lead, you're okay. And you have him available.
So Lee Staudt is the new Mike Chappell. He checks in for him. So the senior, you know, you say you're going to stay away from him, but you don't stay away from him.
Well, sometimes that foul will find you.
You know, it was kind of ticky-tack, too. I mean, it was like the official almost didn't want to call it, but he kind of had to. He didn't want to get him that far from the basket. But that's the way the game's played. A lot of errors. Who makes the fewer errors? There's a two-pointer that's up and down by Greg Graves. So he finally now breaks a long drought there on field goals. He has 16 points for the game, and now Lathrup with a 9-point lead over Saginaw. From the corner, the three fires up and goes nothing down but the bottom of the net for Jason Peoples. 13 for Peoples, 3 3-pointers for him today. 6-point game, the press is on. Saginaw knows Chappell's out of there. They go in, drive, score, foul, Staudt. And Saginaw, just like that, is back in the game. Lawanzo Harris has 4, and he'll shoot 1.
See, this is not good because Herm would have liked to have bought more time protecting Chappell. But now he's got to make a decision, and the decision is to get him back into the game. Now there's 5:26 to go. Again, that's a lot of time. You just do not want to lose your big fella, your most important player, and not have him available at the end of a tight game.
Harris gets 1.
Chess game.
So on the line now for one shot is Lawanzo Harris. First time he's been there today. He has 4 points, only a junior. This to make it a 3-point game. So Saginaw down 52-49. Mike Chappell is in the game. We'll see how they protect him defensively here. That press is tough, but see, Chappell with that height can help get the ball over the 10-second line. On the drive, no. Chappell goes in there. He could have got one there over the back.
See, that's the thing about having 4 fouls. You can't do any of the things that you would normally do.
Oh, for 3 to tie the game, Jason Peoples. What a game he has played today. 16 points on 4 3-pointers. A moment ago, they were 9 down at 52-43, and just like that, with less than a minute, they've scored 9 straight to tie it.
Well, one thing about Peoples, he is not bashful, and he doesn't lose confidence. Prior to those last 2 makes, Peoples was 3 of 16, but he was still shooting.
Here's Chappell for 3, no, and it comes down to Saginaw, pulled down by Montel Lewis. A 9-0 run in a minute. Here's another 3 from the corner. Loose on the floor, and it's pulled out of there by Lathrup. And it's Brandon Barrett and a whistle, and a foul is called, and that one goes against Saginaw's Montel Lewis, his second.
You know, you don't run through a minefield. You know, you move sort of deliberately, picking your spots. By the same token, you don't try to dribble through a swarming press. You pick the ball up and try and find some of your teammates who are open. And each time that Southfield Lathrup does try to dribble through all of that harassing pressure, they get themselves into trouble.
So now Lathrup trying to end this 9-0 Saginaw run here. You can see Brandon Barrett is struggling with a ball and a whistle, and I think he's drawn a foul, and he has. Same guy who just got him a moment ago, Montel Lewis, has 3. Saginaw doesn't need to panic here at all just because they've caught him. This is what they wanted to get to. And when they kind of overdo the pace, that's when they start to make mistakes and fall behind. We got players coming in from all over the place.
Now, Saginaw plays one way, and that's pretty much the way they play. So it's going to be very difficult to tell them to lay off of what has gotten them back into the game. They're going to continue to pressure and reach and grab and hold.
Now, Saginaw's been over the 100-point mark. They've been over 103 3 times, but they're only at 52 here today. Lathrup has never been that high. Lathrup does not play nearly as much wide open offense. Chappell shot misses again. Put back, no.
He's gone. See, right there.
That's it.
He's gone. Now, look at Saginaw. Just take a look at them. They feel now that, hey, this game, we are in control.
Mike Chappell is done. He ends his high school career with 18 points, the all-time scoring leader in the history of Southfield Lathrup High School. Gone but not forgotten. 9 rebounds today, and the Lathrup fans will give him a standing ovation because this kid had one heck of a basketball career for Southfield Lathrup.
He certainly did, and he's going to have a great college career, but for right now, he's going to have to hope and pray that his teammates can finish the job for him because he no longer can affect this game.
Bob Herm calls timeout to figure out what to do next. It's a chess game with 4:20 to play, and almost as if there's a look of bewilderment on his teammates' eyes, and Chappell says, you guys are going to have to get it done without me, and that's the way it's going to be. Marshall Thomas and his Saginaw Trojans talk it over here, 4:20 to play. Timeout on the floor. We're tied at 52. One of your sponsors today is Farm Bureau Insurance. Tim Staudt with Greg Kelser back. Here we have 4:20 remaining to be played in the Class A state title game. Gregory?
Well, here's Saginaw pushing it up the floor, and Peoples.
That's out of the picture.
That's open for him. That's open for him. He was on his side of the half-court line. He was open.
Southfield Lathrup has 16 turnovers to Saginaw 7. The rebounding's reasonably close, but Lathrup got those numbers, of course, with their big star Mike Chappell in there, and he got 9 of them. So here's Marshall Thomas, 14th year. He's 4:20 away from a state title or a runner-up. It's just that simple. On the line now, Jason Peoples had a huge game today to shoot. 16 points for Peoples today, having a big game for Saginaw. Peoples had 12 yesterday, but with a chance to take the lead, Saginaw doesn't do it. So how will Lathrup adjust now? It's a team essentially without a player like a Mike Chappell. He is fouled out. Here's Greg Graves, the junior, who wants to do it and has struggled with his shot. Saginaw with a basketball, looking to take the lead for just a second time today. That's the shot they need, and the foul will send to the line Saginaw's Dwayne Nash, their big star. So now can Saginaw get the lead and add to it and hold on?
Well, that was a good extra pass right there, and attacking the basket as he's done pretty much the entire afternoon is Nash, and Nash has a chance now with the 2 free throws to put his team in control up 2.
Nash with 16 points today. He has not scored in this quarter. He will shoot 2 for the lead. Saginaw 53, Southfield Lathrup 52. Dwayne Nash, 6'3", 194. He's a senior. Big game today. That's Saginaw's biggest lead of the day, 2 points at 54-52. Now Lathrup is going to look for leadership here. Brandon Barrett, the junior, the point guard. Who's going to be taking the shots now? Saginaw corrals another turnover, and with 3:40 remaining to be played, the Trojans have a chance to add to their margin.
See, Greg Graves has got to demand the basketball now, and he's got to be the settling factor for his team, which is really, really out of control. And as I said, when Chappell went to the bench, you could see the air come right out of Southfield Lathrup. They've got to get it back.
Alonzo Harris for the throwaway, puts it up and down. Saginaw just hangs around. 7 points for Harris, 4-point lead now for the Trojans. Grace going to have to look out from behind. And they turn it over. It's off one of the Chargers, and the Trojans will get it back. A 4-point Saginaw lead with 3:15 remaining to be played. This was a strange turnover here. Tough to call, but Saginaw gets the call. In the corner for 3. That one doesn't fall. Not sure that's the best shot to take, but like Gregory says, that's Saginaw's game. And if that's their game, that's what you get. What you see is what you get.
That's right. No matter the situation.
And remember, there's no shot clock and none needed. Barrett dumping inside, looking for help. Nice spin move, but the layup won't go. There's a lid on the basket for Lathrup in the second half.
Oh boy, 3-on-1.
Nearly traveled, and it's put up and in, and it's good by Freeman Battle. 6 for him. The run has been huge, 58-52. In fact, they have now given up 15 straight points. It was 52-43 Lathrup. And Bob Herm calls timeout. His team has given up 15 straight points in the last 3 minutes and 19 seconds.
And they have not scored since Chappell left the game.
This telecast is a copyright production of the Michigan High School Athletic Association and Past Sports. No reproduction of the pictures or accounts of this game may take place without the express written consent of the MHSAA and Pass Sports. Tim Staudt, Greg Kelser, Breslin Center, 2:19 to go. It was 52-43 Lathrup. Saginaw is on a 15-point run here. And here's the last two.
Well, they kept the floor spread, made it impossible for that one man back to guard all three. And that's pretty much the way you draw it up.
Lathrup only has 18 points here in the second half. Mike Chappell fouled out a minute and a half ago. And it was in the midst of this 15-point run. The Trojan fans sniffed that third state title in school history. The first in 34 years if they get it. But it's a 6-point game, Gregory. Lathrup has the ball and is right in it.
You know, but they've got to calm down right now. They have fully lost their composure. And watching their star go to the bench, you could see a really, I don't know, afraid look on their faces. They've got to get back their confidence if they expect to win this championship. Well, somebody's got to step up, and I think it has to be Greg Graves.
Graves has struggled with his shot here in the second half of the game. He is 6 out of 17. And Lathrup has not shot very well today. They're only 19 out of 54 for 35%. Southfield Lathrup's 18 turnovers have been converted into 17 Saginaw points, which has been another big factor. You look at the Lathrop Chargers here, hoping to finish off a superb season. Lathrup has won 13 games in a row. There's Greg Graves, only a junior. The bucket here of Lathrup, of course, which has dominated play. They had a 9-point lead after one quarter at 26-17, and this has been a defensive game since then. Another turnover for Lathrup. Saginaw does not like to take the air out of it, but they'll go to the hole and draw a foul, and that's the case for Dwayne Nash, who's going to go shoot 2 more.
And you know what? Maybe they shouldn't take the air out of it because they've got an opponent on the ropes, reeling. And Saginaw looking to apply that knockout blow, so why pull it out?
I think you're right. I really do. It's a system they wouldn't be familiar with. Plus, if they miss, they're so good at going to the glass anyway. Nash is 4 out of 5 from the line today. 58-52, Saginaw with a 6-point lead. Dwayne Nash, 18 points on this afternoon. This to make it a 7-point lead now for the Saginaw Trojans. They've scored 16 unanswered points here. And Lathrup is reeling, and as Greg says, is on the ropes. Graves is fouled, he'll shoot 2, and the clock stops there. And as Gregory said, he will have to be the one to pull him out of this if it's going to happen. Saginaw foul on Ronnie Pitts. That's his third. Boy, they're not going to say he was shooting there. That's a break for Saginaw.
Well, these guys play like Georgetown or Arkansas. You know, that constant pressure. People coming from everywhere and protecting the ball is very important. And Lathrup hasn't been able to do it today.
The Ronnie Pitts with a steal, and that one doesn't go, but the tip-up by Nash is up and in. 21 for Nash, and it's a 9-point game. 18 straight points for Saginaw. Graves way outside, can't get it to fall, and hustles for the rebound. It must seem like an and he throws in a 3. The basket will count. Just when we were ready to nail the coffin shut, a chance at a 4-point play. They were lowering it to the ground. And Greg Graves makes a 3. That ends an 18-point drought. 20 points for Greg Graves, and a chance now to cut this to 5, and Saginaw calls timeout. Where did that come from?
Desperation. A prayer answered.
There it is, so he'll go to the line. Now, if he makes it, it's a 5-point game with 91 seconds to play. It's been a very entertaining game. That foul was on Lawanzo Harris. That's his third. So Greg Graves will go to the line when we come back. The game balls for this MHSAA boys and girls basketball finals this season have been provided by Wilson Sporting Goods. Wilson is also donating commemorative autograph balls to today's finalists. The MHSAA thanks Wilson for its contribution to interscholastic athletics. And watch some of the best wrestlers around battle for championship gold as the United Dairy Industry of Michigan presents the 1996 MHSAA Lower Peninsula Individual Wrestling Finals here on Pass. Highlights of the Division I finals will be shown on April 1st, followed by the Division II and III finals on April 5th, and the Division IV championship on April 7th. 61-55, Saginaw leading Southfield Lathrup, 91 seconds to go. An entertaining day for these fans here at the Breslin Center. And after this timeout, Greg Grace will come back and see if he can complete a 4-point play, which of course makes it, as it is anyway, a 2-possession game right now.
Well, the thing that Grace has to do is make the free throw first. That's most important. That will allow Southfield Lathrup to set up their pressure. And they have to hope that they can force a turnover. They should not foul. Force a turnover or an ill-advised quick shot, which Saginaw will oblige them. And then, of course, Southfield Lathrup must be ready to clamp down on a defensive rebound. There's still plenty of time in this game.
Has to be agony for Mike Chappell on the Lathrup bench. Marshall Thomas, if he's nervous, he doesn't show it. I guess you can be nervous and smile on the outside. So here's Greg Grace, only a junior, again with 20 points today, heading for 21. A 4-point play, ending an 18-0 run that got Saginaw into the lead. It now holds by 5, and Lathrup, of course, with a full court pressure. Saginaw is prone to turning it over, but not here.
Even though they don't turn it over, you can make them play quick and try to force up a tough shot and then clamp down on the rebound. No need to foul if you're Southfield Lathrup.
Minute 16 to go on a frantic, this is kind of the Saginaw version of the four corners here. And they finally draw a foul, and that'll send Dwayne Nash to the line. I'm not sure he's the guy that you want on a line, but eventually they had to stop the clock.
31.
And that foul is Greg Gray's third foul. So Dwayne Nash will be on the line to shoot 2. From the line, he is 5 out of 7 today. They're trying to get a little jab there, but they don't get that. They let the play continue. So here's Dwayne Nash for 2. That makes it a 6-point Saginaw advantage. 22 points for Dwayne Nash. He is the high scorer on the floor. He had 29 yesterday. Big two-day period, 23 for him. 7-point game. Lathrup is going to have to come down and fire in a hurry, as you know. Barrett in the backcourt throws it away. And this may be the one that doesn't hit.
That could be the one. That's a 9-point lead. That's 3 possessions, and they're not letting up.
Lawanzo Harris, 7 of his 9 in the fourth quarter. Inside, that layup is up and in by Damon Allison. He's a sophomore. That's his first 2 today. 65-58, and the foul is called, and that'll stop play.
I tell you what, you got to give Saginaw credit. They made up in their mind somewhere in the third quarter yesterday of their game against Detroit Denby, we're going to win the state championship. And I don't think they've let up since then.
So on the line will be senior Jason Peoples. 16 points for him this afternoon. Take a look at this play again.
We've seen this play repeatedly.
Now this will be a tough one for Lathrup, which led so much today. But you got to give Saginaw a lot of credit. They've done this the entire year. Come from behind in key games. And in these tournament games, the benches tell the story. 67-58. It's been a 25-6 run here for Saginaw. Here's Gray's shot from outside. The tip-up. He'll finally fall up and in for Damon Allison. That's 4 for him off the bench. It's a 7-point game, and Lathrup will call timeout here with 28.6 seconds remaining. So the Saginaw fans are all hepped up and excited as you look at the Lathrup bench. What a year it has been for the Chargers of Bob Herm, who said he's sat in the stands for years watching other teams play in the A title game, and he always dreamed of bringing his club to the Breslin Center and playing for it all, and that dream was realized today. It may not be the way it completely played out in his mind, but he did have a team here in the finals. Here's Gray's last shot.
Well, it's going to be a tough pill because they had a chance. I mean, they were in pretty good control of the basketball game after Saginaw had staged a furious comeback. And then when Chappell picked up foul number 4 and had to go to the sideline, they had a 6-point lead, and that's when Peoples was able to knock down a couple of trays. And Bob Hearn felt compelled to get Chappell back into the game and probably brought him back just a little too early, because losing him lost your chance of winning the state championship.
And that happens a lot on these high school championship games. Foul trouble can, spell doom for you. I remember when Irvin was playing for Lansing Everett in '77. He fouled out in overtime against Birmingham Brother Rice. And Kevin Smith hit one from behind half court. And Irvin was in for just a few minutes in the overtime. He went out with a 6-point lead. They managed to hang on and win it, but it was a sweatbox.
See, now I remember it being a 9-point lead that he left them with. Safe lead, whatever it was.
Well, maybe it was. I mean, maybe it was a 6-point margin at the end. It may have been a 9-point lead.
See, Mike unfortunately fouled out with the score tied.
Yeah, that's right. If you're going to foul out, you need to have him with a big lead. So they only have Lathrup's only option here, of course, is to put Saginaw on the line. Stay with us regardless of how this ends up for our medal presentation, because it's always a great ceremony where both teams are honored evenly. So on the line here for Saginaw, Lawanzo Harris. Man, what a game he played in the fourth quarter. 7 of his 9 in the fourth quarter. And now Bob Hearn is throwing in the towel from the standpoint he wants to get as much playing time here for his seniors. He has cleaned the bench. And with 19.8 seconds to go, we have a whole new floor of Southfield Lathrup Chargers. It's a disappointed team today. They came so close and played so well. But that 18-0 run midway through the second half spelled doom for their hopes today. So here's junior Lawanzo Harris. He'll be back trying to hit double figures in the state championship game. Got to feel happy for this guy too, Gregory. Marshall Thomas. This team had a great season at 23-3. It'll be 24-3 when it's all added up and finished. And a state title, a Saginaw Valley championship.
Well, I tell you what, working the broadcast have to pale in comparison to what he's probably experiencing right now. Marshall Thomas.
I can't wait to ask him what you enjoy most, doing the games or coaching a state champion. That is it. The Saginaw Trojans are the 1996 champions in Class A of the state of Michigan. Marshall Thomas accepts the congratulations of his fans. We'll be back with a medal ceremony in just a moment. You're watching the MHSAA on Pass. Tim Staudt back here with Greg Kelser at the Breslin Center. Saginaw has won the 1996 Class A state title, the 3rd state championship in school history, going with titles in 42 and 62. And now to begin the medal ceremony and award presentation, let's go to the public address announcer here at the Breslin Center, Eric Forsythe.
Ladies and gentlemen, before the presentation of the championship trophies and medals, let's acknowledge these 2 fine teams for their achievements this year and their play here today. At this time, we direct your attention to center court, where Roy Allen, Director of Health, Physical Education, and Safety, Detroit Public Schools, a member of the Michigan High School Athletic Association Representative Council, will make the awards presentations. First, let us honor the runner-up in Class A, the Chargers of Southfield Lathrup. First, we present individual medals. Number 13, Tim Franklin. Number 15, Solomon Edwards. Number 21, Dennis McKinley. #23, Chris Wells. #25, Larry Wright. #33, Antoine Parks. #35, Lee Strotter. 41, Damon Ellison. '51, Amadi Stewart. '53, Kachi Agua. '11, Brandon Barrett. '31, Greg Graves. '43, Mike Chappell. '45, Harold Ellison. And '55, Reggie Butler. And accepting the runner-up trophy in Class A, Coach Bob Herm. Congratulations to the Chargers of Southfield Lathrup on an outstanding season. For the 1996 Michigan High School Athletic Association Class A champions, the Trojans of Saginaw. First, we present the medals. Number 10, Armar Van Sant. Terrence Reed. '14, Marcus McCray. '22, Andre Reed. Number 30, Torrance Whitson. 44, Montel Lewis. '50, Freeman Battle. '52, Terry Washington. 54, Dion Anderson. 20, Deronnie Pitts. 24, Loanzo Harris. 32, Dwayne Nash. 34, Antoine Tatum. And 42, Jason Peoples. And accepting the championship trophy, Coach Marshall Thomas. Congratulations to the Trojans of Saginaw, the 1996 Class A boys basketball champion.
Saginaw High wins the Class A crown. Stay right with us. One of your sponsors is Tombstone Pizza. The Saginaw High Trojans win the Class A crown over Southfield Lathrup in an exciting game. We'll go down to the floor right now. Tim and Greg standing by with a couple of happy Trojans, including one that went to great length to avoid working with me today. Gentlemen?
We just mentioned that to Marshall Thomas. Welcome back, Marshall Thomas, in his 14th year. Who would have thought yesterday you're 19 down in the second half to Denby. 24 hours later, you own the state championship. Way to go, Marshall.
Well, we appreciate it. I'm going to be honest with you. It hasn't even sunk in just yet, but I'm so proud of the kids. Yesterday, we just kept telling the kids, as we did actually the early part of the game today, that it takes 4 quarters to win this game, and we were going to play 4 quarters.
Stay here. Gregory wants to talk to 2 of your seniors, Greg.
Dwayne Nash, first of all, the pressure that you were able to apply on Southfield Lathrup just wore them down. You forced 21 turnovers. I guess at some point in yesterday's game, you decided you wanted this state championship.
Yeah, this was the high first championship in 34 years. We just came out. We was down by 10 at the half. We said the game wasn't over with because we was down like 19 yesterday. We just kept fighting. Then they hang our heads, didn't let them, because we down by 10. We just kept working.
And of course, Jason Peoples, you're probably one of the more confident players on the floor. You miss a couple of shots, you don't get down, you keep firing it up. You had 2 big 3-pointers to help your team get the lead, which they were able to keep in the second half. Your thoughts?
Well, I just feel that we all played hard. We kept good attitudes. Coach helped us by, preparing us for the whole season, and everything just turned out for us.
All right, Tim, back to you.
Well, we'll get one last comment here from Marshall. Congratulations. What a dream for 14 years a head coach, and now you're coach of state champion.
Oh, it's a dream come true. It's a dream come true.
Well, we hope you get another one next year, then Berkey can find someone else to work with.
Hey, I don't mind that one, but if not, I hope I'll be back here. If we're not back, I hope I'm back here as an announcer. I enjoy it.
Okay, Marshall, congratulations to you and the Saginaw Trojans.
Thanks.
Okay. Gregory, that's it. Rick, back up to you.
Oh, thank you very much. And again, congratulations to Saginaw High Trojans celebrating the Class A crown. Stay with us. This is the MHSAA, and you are watching the MHSAA right here on Pass.
The MHSAA on Pass is presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award. By True Value Hardware, promoting good sportsmanship through the Good Sports Are Winners program. And by Tombstone Pizza.
Saginaw High joins our previous champions crown today, Detroit St. Martin de Porres and Tri-Unity Christian from Wyoming. Rick Berkey along with Bill Brandell back at the Breslin, and we tend to overuse expressions, I'm sure, as sports announcers, but the comeback kids certainly applies to these Saginaw Trojans.
Boy, it did, and once again, at the halftime, they're down by 10, but they come out with fire in their eyes. And the whole story of the game, Rick, 2 magnificent offensive runs, a 16-2 run, then an 18-0 run, and Saginaw goes home with a state championship.
Take a quick look at the final stats here, and you see that finally Lathrup did cool off. Remember, they were up about 48% at the halftime. They cooled down 37. Saginaw really never did kick it into gear percentage-wise, but you look down there in the turnover column, and that probably tells the story more than anything else.
Well, that's got to be magnified. 21 turnovers again today. They caused Saginaw, that is, with that pressing defense, gambling defense. They are just tenacious. They never give up. They never quit. They come at you all over the floor. And it caused the Southfield squad to just lose their cool, just as Denby did yesterday, and once again, state championship for Saginaw.
Mr. Graves hits 5 3-pointers for Lathrup, but your heart has to go out to Mike Chappell, who fouled out 18 points. A terrific career for this young man, and he's got a whole lot of basketball ahead of him. Looking by quarters, you see again, Saginaw kicked it in that second half, outscoring the Chargers by a count of 43-26 from the intermission on to eventually win it by 7.
Well, again, the difference in the second half, that defense by the tenacious pressing of Saginaw, and you just can't say enough about it.
Well, Prep Day in Michigan continues here. Next on Pass with the Class B title match in the 96 MHSAA Lower Peninsula Girls Volleyball Tournament between Comstock and Charlotte. Our coverage of the boys basketball finals continues here tonight at 7:30 with the Class B championship game between East Grand Rapids and Detroit Country Day. Your Class A champion is Saginaw High, a 67-60 winner over Southfield Lathrup. Now for Tim Staudt, Gregory Kelser, Bill Brandell, and our production crew from TCI Cablevision of Oakland County, I'm Rick Berkey. So long, everybody.